This is the book of Matthew, chapter 24, verse 12. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. 2 Timothy 3 and 1. This know also in the last days perilous time should come. Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai Ba'Shem, Wakakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, preaching His word truthfully and sincerely. Shalom to the Akim, scattered through the four corners of the globe, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, scattered through the four corners of the globe, that be like unto the speckled bird, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. I say shalom to your Akim out there. And this is news articles that I'm about to bring out to reference to the scriptures that I just brought out as well too. And this is a news article from ampcnn.com. And the highlight of this news article, and it reads from CNN.com. Suspect in a UVA shooting was on the bus with victims returning from a Washington, D.C. trip, the school's spokesperson says. It says the suspect gunman in the University of Virginia shooting on a class field trip with the victims before shooting occurred. It says a UVA spokesperson confirmed Tuesday. It says Christopher was on the bus returning from a trip to Washington, D.C., where the class had been seen a play. The UVA, which is Virginia, University of Virginia, it says spokesperson Brian Cole said. Until Tuesday night, it was not known whether Jones was on the trip or if he was even on the bus prior to the shooting. It says police was still trying pieces together what could have led to the deaths of 3 UVA football players. And it says the identities were identified was also in the injured in the shooting. It says the health spokesperson Eric Sherwin gave CNN a status update on the 2 injured people Tuesday, saying one person was discharged and the other was in serious condition. Swilling did not identify either person. And this is the suspect right here. He was arrested on Monday in connection with the shooting, and he was charged with 3 counts of second-degree murder. And then this is the rest of the other charges. He's been charged as well too, as of Tuesday afternoon. And they say he's expected to appear in the General District Court Wednesday, which is yesterday, for a bond hearing on court record shows. So yeah, I believe 3 football players was killed. 3 were injured, and the suspect was in custody. And he was a former student at the school, and he was on the football team, but he did not play in it. So he was a former student. 22-year-old was in custody of the shooting over there in the U.S. Virginia shooting. Now we have another story right here. I believe a day later, and this one right here. And this is from CNN.com as well too. And it says Idaho police says 3 people were. It says Idaho police said there were other people in the home at the time of a quadruple homicide, but declined to say who called 911. And it says more questions than answers continue to plague Moscow, Idaho community after a fatal stabbing of 4 University of Idaho students. And police said they cannot assure the community it's safe, right? Because the suspect is still not in custody. Because at first, when the story broke out, about like 2 days ago or a day ago, and they were saying it was an unknown confirm of 4 people was dead. They was off campus, inside of an apartment, and the suspects they all knew. The victims they knew each other, and at first, as I mentioned before, when the reports came out, confirmed 4 students was dead on off-campus apartment in Idaho. Now, when the new details come out saying, they were stabbed, so, but continuing on with the reading. It says Moscow police James Fry gave an update Wednesday, which was yesterday, because today is Thursday, saying 2 additional roommates were in the home at the time of the killings, who neither injured nor held hostage. Fry also said 2 of the victims, Ethan and Hazina, were at a party on campus, while the other victims, Madison and Kay, were at a downtown bar prior to their deaths. All 4 arrived back home sometime at 1:45 a.m. local time, Fry said. They were killed sometime in the early morning hours of Sunday, November 13th, Fry said. And it says, but there were no 911 calls until noon Sunday. Fry did not say who called 911, despite the 2 people were being at the home when the killing took place. And when officers responded, Fry also declined to say if the people who spoke with police. We're not going to go further into what they know and what they don't know, he said. He did say that they came in from an unconscious person, not a person with a stab wound. There were also no evidence of forced entry, the chief said. Fry did admit all 4 victims were killed with a knife, though no weapon has been located at this time. As of Wednesday even, there is neither identification nor location of any of a suspect, Fry said. We cannot say there's no threat to the community. Right, because the people, they might be still on edge because the suspect is still out there, So they on the alert at the moment right now. But continuing on with the news article. Please stay vigilant. Reports of any suspicious activity and can be aware of your surroundings at all times, Fry said. It says Fry's comments come just 1 day after the Moscow Police Department in a news release. There was no threat to the public, and evidence led investigators to believe that this was a target attack. Right, because I seen it, a video, I believe it was like 22 seconds from Heavy.com. I don't know for sure it was the suspect, but I believe he was with the victims. I don't know if he knew them or, I believe they was like potentially outside of a bar, I believe. They was like some hanging out area in that region over there in Idaho. So I just wanted to add that to it. But continuing on with the reading. The killings and lack of information has ranked 25,000 strong city nest on the Idaho-Washington border. And it says the college town has not recorded a number since 2015, according to the state police data. residents there are anxious and are getting out of Dodge. Lieutenant County Sheriff Deputy told the Idaho statement. The father of one of the victims issued a statement Wednesday calling on police to release further information about the killings. He said this is a lack of information from the University of Idaho and the local police, which only fuels false rumors in the press and social media. Jim Chapman, the father of Ethan Chapman, said in a statement, the silence of further correspondence, our family's agony at our son's murder for Ethan and his 3 dear friends slain in Moscow, Idaho, and all for the families. I urge officials to speak the truth, share what they know, and follow the assassinate and protect the greater community. And it says, University of Idaho President Scott Green offered condolences in a statement Monday and deferred to the police, believed that there was no threat to the public. So I ain't gonna read the rest of all of that. So I read the long article. So it's another story right here. I believe it's in Phoenix. And this was recently from this is from MSN.com, Today News, and the highlight of this news article, and it reads, deaths of Phoenix family of 5 being investigated as a homicide. Police says a family of 5 were found dead Wednesday in a Phoenix home where natural gas was also detected. Police said detectives are investigating it as a homicide. It says Police Sergeant Melissa said this is a scene. This scene is a complete tragedy beyond us. I meant to say Slovakia, slip of the tongue. She told reporters. It says police and fire officials responded to the home near West Augusta Avenue shortly after 8 a.m. of a report of a possible hazardous. It says investigation and unresponsive person inside. They detached natural gas. She said 2 adults and 3 children were found dead inside the home with obviously signs of trauma. Yeah, it kind of seemed like a murder-suicide. It says police has not determined by the afternoon whether it was a murder-suicide. Police said investigators do not believe there was a killer on the loose. So yeah, most likely it was possible murder-suicide. It says we need, and that's the area photo of the area in Phoenix, Arizona. And I'm gonna read it. It says emergency vehicles near the home where multiple were found dead inside a Phoenix home as of November 16, 2022. It says we need to take a look at every possible angle, all the evidence, and there's going to take some time, she said, adding that the case was in early stages. The Southwest Gas turned off the gas to the home of a ambulance of caution, police said, but it was not clear what the natural gas came from or how. All 5 people are family members of a family, police said, but their names and ages were not immediately released. Next of kin. It says notifications must be made. She said this story was first appeared on NBCnews.com. This article was originally published by on today.com. Yep, that's why. Um, yeah, that's why I bring out those scriptures. These are the signs of the times that we are living in, and these things definitely been increasing throughout the whole year 2022. You've been seeing cases after cases of murder, suicides, domestic incidents, isolation incidents like this, similar to these stories. And the stories been increasing. And I'm gonna bring out the scripture. It says, 2 Timothy 3:1. This know also in the latter days. That in the last days, perilous times should come, right? Because we're living in those times. We're living in those increasing, dangerous, perilous times. And I'm gonna look up the definition of perilous. And these things are definitely increasing, especially here in America. It's definitely perilous times we're living in as well too. And the definition of perilous. Perilous is a adjective. Perilous, full or involving peril, a perilous journey. Adverb, perilously. The synonyms of the word: dangerous, grievous, jeopardized, perilous, serious, unhealthy, virtuosome, grave, hazardous, menacing, risky, threatening, unsafe. Right, because we're living in some dangerous, unsafe, serious, risky, perilous times. So, hey, that's the definition of it. We're living in some very challenging, serious, dangerous times. And I'm gonna bring out that Matthews 24:12 as well too. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 24, verse 12. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold, right? Because lawlessness is going to increase. Because the love of many others are going to continue to wax cold. And that's what we're seeing in these latter days. In the current time that we are living in the latter days. And I'm definitely look up the definition of iniquity. The definition of iniquity is a noun: unrule or grossly unfair behavior. Right, immoral or grossly unfair behavior. Similar word: wickedness, sinfulness. Yep, because the love of many are waxing cold in the latter days. Iniquity. That means unfair, unruly, grossly behavior is increasing more and more and more, because the love of many are waxing cold towards one another. That's why you're seeing these stories like this are increasing. We're going to see it increase more and more and more, because these are the signs of the times that we are living in. So with that, I hope this lesson was edifying through the spirit, power, grace, and mercy of Yahweh Yahushua. And first and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Wakar Kadash. Double honors to the elders, apostles of Great Millstone, preaching His word truthfully and sincerely. Shalom to the Akim, scattered through the four corners of the globe, preaching His word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim that be like unto the speckled bird, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And until next time, before I close out this sit-down lesson on November 16th, 2022, 9:58 p.m. Central Standard Time on this Wednesday night. As I mentioned before, as an introduction of the scripture that I brought out, 2 Timothy 3:1. Also in the latter days, the perilous times in Matthew 24:12, and because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold, and that's what we're seeing. Lawlessness increasing, unmoral, unfair, unruly behavior is increasing in the latter days. It's increasing. The love of many are waxing cold nowadays. And these things are definitely just going to continue to increase in the current times that we are living in. So with that, I would say shalom in the barber ball.